Remember, the key to success is working hard.
Come, my brother, come, my sister, let us build a nation together. We can do it because we have demonstrated that ability before. I want to say to you tonight, I will commence the process of featuring the ministers, the different ministers of government, looking at what they have been able to achieve over the last 12 months. So I've been featuring our Prime Minister, and tonight I want to start off with the Honorable Jonathan Lacrette, and after him, I will feature the Honorable Tevin Andrews, and if I have time tonight, I will feature the Honorable Ron Redhead, and then tomorrow I will, continue, or I'll feature Adrian Thomas tonight, or one of them. We have all the interviews, so I am featuring them tonight, the ministers of government.
Welcome to The Conversation, a special program of the Government Information Service, as we speak with ministers of government on the one-year anniversary since forming the government in June of 2022. I'm privileged to sit with the Honorable Senator Jonathan Lacrette. He's the Minister for Health, Wellness and Religious Affairs. Senator, welcome.
Thank you very much, Sherry, and for the opportunity to be here this morning.
It is also, a privilege for me to sit and chat with you. Senator, undoubtedly, you have survived the first year at the helm of one of the most critical ministries within the government structure. Speak to us first about the experience, You were always in public service,
yes,
but not at this level.
Yes.
And not with such huge responsibilities. Also,
Correct.
educating the nation's youth is also a huge responsibility. But health takes the cake. How has it been?
Well, it has been an extremely steep learning curve. I must say a dynamic experience as well. The Ministry of Health is dynamic as well as complex with a multiplicity of moving parts. And you have to be able to organize well, plan well, manage well, and ensure that these moving parts are well coordinated so that you have some kind of unison taking place throughout the entire sector. As you alluded to, I'm not new to public sector rules, regulations, processes, procedures, etc. But new to the political arena, of course, as well as the Ministry of Health and all of the regulations that govern various aspects of the ministry. So that's why I mentioned prior, it was an extremely steep learning curve, but I'm enjoying the stint thus far, and just really grateful for the opportunity to serve.
And I'm going to hit right into, you said you're new to the political arena, and you're here because of some of your pronouncements on the political arena that the electorate was happy with. One of them being primary health care. It's your first year. What has been done to it?
Well, as of yesterday, I think Wednesday, the 21st? Yes, as of yesterday, we were able to launch the District 1 Primary Healthcare team and also the Wellness Council. We amalgamated St. John and St. Mark and we categorize it as District 1 because they're close in proximity as it relates to geographical location. And a number of members on that team were present, and we were able to successfully launch the team, and I'm looking forward to working with District 1 team. I believe that we're going to St. David next, to form the District Wellness Council in St. David and primary healthcare team. So we are extremely happy about that. Every team is going to have their specific guidelines and their deliverables as to how they work and operationalize their functions in the community.
So how long a process it took you to put that together?
That has been in the pipeline since we came into office. Maybe about 3 months coming into office, we started to speak primary health care, because we understand that before you can even talk construction of a brand new hospital, there are some things you must get right at the bottom of the pyramid. And primary health care is one, because across all health sectors internationally, it is the substratum of every health sector, your primary health care structure.
Which leads me to the next question. Our human resource, I'm speaking to our doctors, our nurses, and so prior to coming in to office, and well, I think it's continuing now, the issue of the migration of our health professionals, the morals, what has you been able to do through your government and your staff to help just maybe curb that, break it a bit?
Curb or break it a bit, okay?
I'm sure which one to tell you, because it is such an important one that we have to hold on to.
Yes, it is, and I agree. I think that government has been extremely resolute about the value that we place in our clinicians at this particular point in time, and that's both medical doctors as well as our nurses. We must understand, however, that before we can even begin to have a conversation with the non-nurses in the conversation, I want us to be able to first and foremost look at remuneration for nurses, regularization for nurses, compensation packages, because these are some of the conversations that they have been having with us in some of the brief consultations we've had with nurses across the entire sector. And my thinking is, if you are going to recruit from the region or even the diaspora, the package must be lucrative before anybody decides I'm going to leave where I am, come back to Grenada and serve, or someone who is a national of another country, I'm going to leave where I am and come to Grenada and serve because the compensation package is lucrative and I can live off of it and I can take care of my family, etc. So yes, there is a need and there is a deficit for nurses across the entire world. Even international countries are suffering from or hemorrhaging as it relates to the nursing fraternity in their various countries. And as a result of that, I would like to ensure that our nurses are first regularized, and that is why we moved to ensure that the $500 honorarium is our way of saying that we value you. Fiscally, we cannot go beyond that at that particular point in time, but just give us 1 year so that we can regularize the nurses under Gren Keys and regularize the nurses who are in the public service, put them on permanent establishment, etc. See how we can come up with compensation packages for them that are lucrative so that our nurses will even feel a greater sense of value being placed in them from the policymakers' perspective.
Right, so now that you're looking at that aspect, what are the plans to, or do you think what you're doing now will serve as one of the indicators that will encourage others to want to be in the profession?
Yes, because I believe that once you have a compensation package that is lucrative and people feel, okay, you know what, government has put some thought into this, I can now raise my hands and say, you know what, I want to be trained as a nurse. Or I want to be a nursing assistant, etc. Because I can make a clarion call now for citizens who desire, or nationals in the region or internationally, who desire to become a nurse, and we're training, we're giving full scholarships for 150 persons. But when they hear what the pay is at the end of the month, or there is hardly no compensation package, nobody's going to come, we won't be able to recruit. And that is why I think it is important. That is why I mentioned prior that there are some things at the bottom of the pyramid we must get right first. Primary health care, making sure that our nurses are stabilized as it relates to compensation packages, remuneration, etc., before we can begin to climb the rest of the strata of the pyramid. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you if you're satisfied at the point that you are at now, or should I say, are you pleased with the pace or the progress at which that is going in terms of the regularization and so on?
Well, currently the Department of Public Administration, they are in the consultation process with various stakeholders as it relates to the regularization framework that they have been able to put together. So I know thereafter we're going to be looking at, and also the Ministry of Labor has been doing national consultations on the minimum wage. So both of them amalgamated together. I know that before the end of the year, we will definitely come up with a proposal as it relates to what the minimum wage is going to be like and what sort of packages we can put together for our clinicians. Bearing in mind that our doctors are also grossly underpaid, so they can't be left out of the picture at all. They must be included in the equation as well, because we want to be able to also keep them on island and use their clinical services for the development of our healthcare sector.
Which begs the next question.
Tell me.
Another that was on the campaign trail rolling into what it is you want to do in terms of improvement of the health sector is the services offered to the people. How far along have you gotten within the first year? And one of the services that stands out is that of dialysis treatment.
Yes, that of dialysis treatment. Well, currently we have, I believe, 8 persons on peritoneal dialysis and 4 persons on hemodialysis. Of course, some of the services are outsourced privately. I just met a lady, by the way, upstairs on 4th floor by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and she was saying, Minister, those of us who are using the private sector organizations for dialysis or private sector treatment centers for dialysis, we would really like you to do something as it relates to the $600+ that we have to pay per treatment. She said, I know that those who are using the hospital services, the prices were significantly reduced to $400+. And even under $400+ price, you can do a payment plan and make it easier for you, etc. Per your treatment. And I said to her, thank you for letting me know, but I said fiscally, at this particular point in time, I don't know whether or not government will be able to facilitate the subsidizing of those patients who use the private treatment centers. I said, we're definitely going to look into it because, Sherry-Ann, from a humanistic perspective, I understand that it is expensive.
Very much.
And that sometimes there are patients who must be treated 3 times a week. And when you multiply that for a month, it's a lot of money. Mind you, these patients sometimes they can work. Some days they just can't make it to work. So we understand that from a humanistic perspective, it's difficult, and I will be bringing it to cabinet to see how best we can not totally alleviate, but see how we can anesthetize the pain. Yes.
Mental health and wellness.
Oh yes.
You're smiling.
Well, yeah, I'm smiling because P.S. Andal has really been a driving force behind the mental health and wellness and religious affairs agenda. When we came in, we recognized, and I've been speaking about this for a very long time, the statistics that we gathered from both Ministry of Social Development and Education as it relates to the 47% increase for the need for psychosocial assistance, especially amongst our male population. And now when you see males coming forward and asking for psychosocial or psychological help or counseling services, you know water more than flour.
Right.
Yes.
Right,
so the statistics.
But it's a good thing.
But it's a very good thing. It means that the pressure has started to bust pipe, and as a result, our meals are talking.
Right.
So the statistics were extremely startling to us, and as a result, we decided, you know what, 3 years from now, we do not want to have a greater mental health issue, because Caribbean people have a way. There are certain things, certain subjects or topics that are really taboo to us. We don't talk about it. We deal with our pain and our problems and our challenges, yes, in a very sheltered way. And as a result of that, you know, I said to my team at the Ministry of Health, we don't want to have a situation in the next 3 years where the underlying mental health issues that we don't see now, we see greater risk problems popping up in the next 3 years, and then we don't build out the infrastructure or the framework to be able to deal with these challenges. So before you can even talk Carlton home, you must have legislation in place that speaks to how it's going to be run and operated. And as a result of that, we started the consultations, we procured the technical assistance from PAHO as it relates to the consultants. And they have been so gracious in ensuring that they give us a public health specialist and 2 renowned psychologists from the region who have worked in the region before, so they understand the cultural context in which they have been thrust into. We did have 1 national consultation already that went pretty well. I believe that video from GIS has over 8,000 views on it, so it said to me that Grenadians were listening because the mental health conversation is a real one. Yes, and The consultations will continue in July and August and for the rest of the year as we do national town halls on mental health. So let's see how the public feels about mental health. How do we treat the criminally ill? Do we continue to shoot them? Or do we engage the police force in training and the stigmatization, etc.? Yes. So we have been working on the legislation. Work will continue on the legislation or legislative reform. And we wanted to also have a national event or a national program that involves Grenadians as it relates to the wellness aspect of mental health and the wellness aspect of health. A national activity or program that involves Grenadians in a physical exercise. Okay. And the objective for that is to have persons return to their own personal exercise routine. So from a national level, you have the inspiration, you have the motivation. But from a personal level, you are now going back to your own personal exercise routine and taking charge of your own health. So that's our Grenada Shifts project.
The Grenada Shifts.
Yeah.
How satisfied are you to how the general public has gravitated towards it?
Well, over the last 2 shifts that we've had or held, both in St. David as well as St. Andrew, it was well received, well attended, and I think that persons were looking forward to something like that that would give them the motivation and the inspiration to really take their health seriously. I mean, after all, over 80% of deaths are caused by non-communicable diseases in Grenada. Cancer being public enemy number 1 and followed by cardiovascular disease. And Sherry, and quite frankly, as a policymaker, together with my team, we can't continue to lose our citizens to these non-communicable diseases. So for me, this was an excellent start, the exercise and the personal reward that persons are feeling and having from going back to their own personal exercise routine. And there are a number of nutritional initiatives. We must amalgamate it. Yeah. There are a number of nutritional initiatives that are coming on stream soon. In fact, we've started at the cabinet level. Because previously when we just came into cabinet or came into government and sat as the new cabinet, there were a number of snacks that were available to cabinet ministers as it relates to the digestive biscuit and so on and so forth. And I've since then asked CAPSEC to ensure that we get rid of those salt and sweet snacks. And now we have broccoli and carrot and raisins and nuts. Yes, because I believe that at the policy-making level, we must lead by example. Can't walk into cabinet, Sharon, and see me with a digestive biscuit in the mouth. I mean, or Dixie cheese. And nobody's not saying that you can't have those things, but in moderation. But at the cabinet level, if we've made healthcare government's top or number 1 priority, you practice what you preach, and I believe that, yes.
Okay. So, what else would you say has been big for you within this first year?
Well, the ability for us to be able to negotiate as well as procure the acres of land for the construction of the brand new climate smart, climate resilient hospital. I think it's a big win for us. It's one of the things that is written with a gold pen in our manifesto, as well as it was a campaign mantra throughout the entire campaign season. And we're really, really proud of that. And I think that Grenadians are looking forward to that beautiful building and the day that we cut the ribbon and say, you know what, Grenada now has a climate smart, climate resilient teaching hospital. That is critically important to us, because in order for you to have improved services, and not that too, you can't speak health sector modernization and not speak brand new climate smart, climate resilient hospital. And when hospitals of yesteryear were built, I don't know whether or not, and that's across the region, not just Grenada, I don't know whether or not they were built to last. That's right, to last. And as a result of that, we're seeing the geographical location of our hospital and our running out of space challenges. So with a brand new climate smart, climate resilient hospital, you have more space in order for you to be able, for example, to increase your laboratory services, to acquire brand new equipment as well as brand new technology to increase your laboratory services, your radiology services, your nephrology services, your ophthalmology services, etc. So I know that some people say, you know what, a brand new hospital now for what? Why a brand new hospital? We don't need that now. Improve other aspects of healthcare. But that is why we started at the bottom of the pyramid with primary healthcare.
And you're coming up.
Exactly. And the reconstruction, rehabilitation in some cases of many of our medical stations. In fact, health terminology for it is smarting. So we've done Victoria Medical Station, we've done Good Hope, we've done Westerhall, we've done Hillsborough, Smart Clinic. We've also looked at, there was some reconstruction that took place at the Princess Royal Hospital as well as Princess Alice. So by the end of the year, into next year, by the half of next year, we should see a significant amount of our medical stations smarted. I know Grand Bras is due for reconstruction as well and expansion so that they can have a theatre, etc. So that kind of decentralization of our services will speak well for the development of the healthcare sector futuristically. Because if you are going to have a brand new climate smart, climate resilient hospital, you must ensure that the medical stations in the various districts, constituencies are up and running and are at WHO and PAHO standard and foremost. Yeah. So I'm excited about that. So the reconstruction, rehabilitation of about 4 or 5 of our medical stations. We've done some work at 2 of our hospitals. And when you look at also the community health department has embarked upon a number of vaccine initiatives and over the past year that we are very proud of, and we intend to move forward and I think double our efforts that we did. I'm speaking my faith now, and double our efforts that we were able to display within the first year.
And I just want to go back a bit because your colleague minister is around. In terms of services offered under the health umbrella, I want you to speak a bit to Carriacou and Petit Martinique.
Well, I remember when we came in, listen, the Minister for Carriacou and Petit Martinique Affairs has always been a champion for his constituency. In fact, nothing gets past us in cabinet unless Carriacou and Petit Martinique is mentioned or included. And he's correct, because the people voted you in so that you may champion their cause. And as a result of that, we ensure that Carriacou and Petit Martinique is included. So when we came in, we received a $200,000 grant from the Chinese as it relates to the development of any healthcare project or the rolling out of any healthcare project within the healthcare sector. I sat with my team and I said to them, you know what, we're not going to keep all this for ourselves. Let's give Carriacou and Petit Martinique $100,000 US. And they were able to, with that money, to procure a mobile dental chair, 2 actually mobile dental chairs. And they were able to do a number of things in the healthcare sector as it relates to the procurement of medical supplies, medicines, resources, so that their doctors and nurses can function effectively and efficiently. I believe that they now have dental services on the island, and well, it has always been there, but to an improved standard of dental services, ophthalmology services, and before the end of the year, we're going to definitely have more programs going to Carriacou that we will see benefiting the residents of Carriacou and Petit Martinique. I must mention, Sherry, and listen to me, there's so many things that happened in health. You know it's going to take a while to see some of the big ticket infrastructural items, fine. But I must speak about the things that are at the bottom of the pyramid, because the school health program is going to start back in September of 2023. And incorporated into the program, I believe that we want to lift the standard a bit, so we're going to have hearing screening. We're going to add hearing screening to the program, as well as we're going to add some aspect of ophthalmology to it as well. We think it's important because there are a lot of children, from my experience in the education field, who suffer with a lot of eye defects.
That's right.
And as a result, they're not able to function effectively in the classroom. So our primary health care, our senior medical officer who has the responsibility for primary health care, wants to be able to raise the bar. So apart from it being strictly dental, because I believe over the years it has just been really strictly dental, we will have the dental aspect as well as hearing screening. Ophthalmology is going to be added, and I think there are 2 other things that I can't remember off my head right now, but it's going to be a comprehensive school health program package, and I believe that's one of the things that's on our manifesto that we want to deliver on before we move into the half of the term. Yeah.
Okay, very well. But before I let you off, what's first on the agenda for continuation that is top priority for you as you move into the beginning of your 2nd year?
The climate smart, climate resilient, brand new hospital. Yes, and at least for Grenadians to begin to see the first phase of the construction of Carlton Home. It may not necessarily be named that because Carlton Home, I mean, you know.
But you know, we will still call it
yes, yes, we will still call it so because I believe that that name is imprinted in our minds. But I believe that the construction of those two infrastructural buildings are at the forefront of our minds. Additionally, we have earmarked from a Ministry of Health perspective the years 2023 to 2027 as the years of health sector modernization. And I believe with the two constructions projects coming on stream would help us achieve such a goal, and the introduction of telemedicine at a very small scale amongst other revolutionary aspects of health. I don't know if you believe it, but one cocoa does full the basket. So,
it may not fully today,
yeah, but
eventually it will.
Yes, it does. So I'm extremely happy. I do have an excellent technical team at the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Religious Affairs. I'm pleased with the work of the permanent secretaries and all of the senior officers and managers at the Ministry of Health. We're working very hard. And they always say, Minister, you are our motivation. I want to be I'm highly motivated about ensuring, because you see, Sharon, today it's your mother, tomorrow it's my mother. So I can't be estranged from the fact that I can't get sick, or a family member of mine can't get sick, and I would like them to be able to access the best quality health care on the island once that happens. So as a result, if I want it for myself, I must also want it for the citizens of Grenada, Carriacou, Petit Martinique, yes.
Minister, on that note, I say thank you very much for having this chat with us on the conversation as you reflected on your first day in office. We was privileged to have here Senator the Honorable Jonathan Lacret, the Minister for Health, Wellness and Religious Affairs. I am Sherry Ann Noel.
Right, so thank you very much, Sherry Ann there, and the Honorable Jonathan Lacret. You heard him and some of his many achievements, his ministry. So at this point, let me go to another minister, because we have all of them. All of them, they were interviewed. The audio is a bit low. I don't know why, but let me just play that little ad and then come back.
Hello, Grenadians in Canada and friends of Grenadians in Canada. This is a special invitation from me, Prime Minister of Grenada, inviting you to join me on the 1st of July 2023 at Bellevue Manor for a special evening, a grand gala. Accompanying me will be the Honorable Joseph Andal, MP for St. Patrick West and Minister for Foreign Affairs. The gala is an aim of raising funds to assist us in building a resource center in Grenada. The Resource Center will be a hub for community activities, for training, for meeting, greeting, and for conventions. So, we invite all of you to come out and join us. Your donation to this event is only $250, and space is limited, so we really do invite you to get your tickets early. I look forward to meeting, greeting, and sharing a meal with all of you as we look to move Grenada forward. I look forward to seeing you on the 1st of July.
Right, so don't forget that in Canada. All right, get your tickets. I know Lacey and the team, they have, I saw a number of posts saying that they still have some tickets left. So again, please get your tickets. All right, so let me at this point play a short one. So let me go with Adrian Thomas, right? Because we have only about 26 minutes left for tonight. And then tomorrow, I could feature two others and we continue along that line. All right? Good.
How far have you got? Welcome to The Conversation, a special program of the Government Information Service where we speak with ministers of government on the one-year anniversary since forming the government in June of 2022. I'm privileged to have the opportunity to sit with Senator the Honorable Adrian Thomas, Minister of State with responsibility for agriculture and lands, fisheries and incorporators. I am Sherry and Noel. Minister, welcome.
Thank you very much, Sharon. It's always a pleasure being in your presence. It's always a pleasure talking to the Grenadian people through you.
Thank you very much. As I said in the introduction, it has been 1 year. And if we reflect on 1 year, which I would say started as a result of what was said on the campaign trail, food security was high on the government's agenda. We've had conversations before. You were part of the agriculture sector. How far have you gotten in terms of plans to ensure that it can be effective, especially in reducing the country's very high import bill? So within your first year, what has been done in terms of food security?
Thank you very much for that very important question. It's a question I will maybe use to lay the foundation in terms of where the Ministry of Agriculture really wants to go. Food security is crucial. And if I may go back for a little while in regards to the impact that COVID-19 had on the Grenadian people in regards to food security, when the planes couldn't come here and the vessels couldn't come, and people were struggling to get food, St. Vincent had to come to our aid. And as I talk about that, we also remember the hurricanes, Ivan and Emily, and the impact, how we struggled to get food also. So those two events, and also we cannot rule out the war in the Ukraine. So those two events has forced this administration to have a sit down with the World Bank and successfully negotiate a project in the sum of $10 million to venture into this project. What we have done over the years is to successfully negotiate a plan of action to utilize that money with the World Bank. We have successfully done that, and I'm proud to see that although it may take it took a little while, but the World Bank has agreed with us in terms of the areas that we want to spend that money on, and they have approved the plan of action in terms of what we want to do, because the World Bank will not just give you a loan, a soft loan of that nature with 1% interest for with 10 years grace period and 40 years to repay it, and expect you to sweep that money down the drain. And I must say that my Prime Minister is not making joke with the accountability. Accountability is crucial. So we have successfully been able to sit down with the bank for the last couple of months, and as I speak, the month of June, we are ready to roll out that project. Now that project, the objective of it really and truly is to lay the agricultural foundation that will kick agriculture and send it further and consolidate agriculture in Grenada. For the last decade, you know, Sharon, that the vast majority of farmers was going on their own will, because they love agriculture and they want to be in agriculture, and they remain and they're doing it. Today, the political will is being put together in addition to what the farmers will and the political will, and if we combine both of them, I think we are on our way to building an industry that will be sustainable and that will lay the foundation for Grenada to take off. We are excited about it. The farmers are excited. I must say in the last couple of months, there is a renewed sense of hope and pride in agriculture. People want to return to the land. People want to invest in marketing. People want to invest in agro-processing. They want to do something in relation to agriculture. And this administration is there to facilitate that process. So we are looking good in regards to, agriculture is not a one-off thing. It's something we have to build on. And that is exactly what we are doing. We are laying the foundation to have a sound agricultural industry.
So if you can just elaborate just a little bit, what were some of the focus area that was embedded within that proposal to the bank?
Well, basically we want to, first and foremost, we want to feed ourselves. But if you have 10,000 farmers in Grenada and everybody involved in agriculture somewhere or the other, with 110,000 people, this is no population, because sooner or later there'll be a glut in the market in any aspect of agriculture. If you want to do tomatoes production and you have 10 farmers doing serious tomato production, people cannot get sick. There will be a glut. So we were able to sit down with the World Bank and let them know, first and foremost, we have to feed ourselves, and secondly, any excess we will want to export. and therefore crop production will be a top priority. Now, how do we accommodate the excess in production for the Grenadian market? We want to encourage people to go into agro-processing, because there is no reason why, with all these mangoes we have in Grenada, you should not be consuming mangoes year round. Whether you're consuming it fresh, red, mango stew, whatever means you want to, you can do pulp, you can punch it, you can make juice. People must be consuming mangoes year round. So we want to encourage people to get into that aspect of it. So we have crop production, agro-processing, and most and foremost, livestock. Sherry and every Grenadian is now addicted to meat. Everybody want to have a whole chicken leg in the plates. Everybody want to go by the side of the road and cook a goat. I mean, 4 or 5 fellas sitting on by the road drinking beer, so they're eating a whole goat. I mean, really and truly, we're not producing enough of these meat that we consume, and that is in high demand. So we want to increase the livestock production in Grenada, and how we do that? We intend to increase the breeding material that we need, that we ought to have. We're going to bring in semen, where we apply the principle of artificial insemination. Okay. So we bring in the semen instead of bringing in the physical animal, and you bring in the semen, and we increase that. We very early in the game we were trying to locate some black belly sheep.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yes, from Barbados, but Barbados, the demand for black belly sheep throughout the Caribbean makes it a little bit difficult. But we're going to get some black belly sheep from Barbados also. But we're also looking at other breeds of animal outside of the region. We are looking at pigs. Now, normally pigs in Grenada, you have to keep it for 6 months if you're doing meat production. Okay. And the animals we have here gives you maybe 120 pounds in 6 months. What we want is hybrid, whereby we can get 220 pounds in maybe 4 or 5 months. Okay. And if you're not feeding an animal for a whole month, you save a lot there, and you also get increased production. So there are breeds in the region and in international community that can give us this level of production. So meat production is high on the agenda. I must mention poultry. Sherry and I'm in the process now finalizing a document whereby we can sit down with the stakeholders, and those things take a little while. As I said to you, agriculture is a process, it's not a one-off situation. So we're going to be sitting down with the stakeholders and discuss how can we increase poultry production in Grenada. Chicken is big in Grenada. Everybody wants to eat chicken every day. And there are some hindrances that the farmers are experiencing. They have expressed it in no uncertain terms to me. Feed is one of the issues that we will be addressing. We'll be sitting down with Caribbean Agro and see how we can work something. Yeah. Caribbean Agro is a very, very important stakeholder in the whole process, and we cannot leave them out. We have the issue of day-old chicks have to be imported. We want to produce our day-old chicks in Grenada. Right. So the cost of effort and bringing it into Grenada will be wiped out. And that in itself should give, over a period of time, increased poultry production. Small ruminants, goats, sheep. We also want to encourage people to rear rabbits. So easy, so prolific. So that is another area that we really want to enter into the poultry production. We will not forget the fishermen. We have plans for that. The World Bank has approved areas in which we can help the fishermen in terms of safety equipment, telecommunication equipment, so that when they go out at sea, they can remain for 2-3 weeks, and if they're in distress, they can communicate with the shore and seek assistance. Storage facilities, people have to stop going outside with a big tub of ice. Right, we have to help them to develop vessels that can have sufficient storage facility, whether it's solar or whatever it is, but we have to encourage that. Those are some of the areas. Pre last is on the agenda for the World Bank also. Honey production, all those things we want to encompass those, and a few other areas, but the areas that I've outlined are the major areas that we want to look at.
One of the areas with this entire administration is education, and you've mentioned the intentions of your ministry through that loan and so. The education process for farmers, because as most of us know, yes, we farm and so, but we don't farm with the business aspect of farming. So within your ministry, because I know you're always out in the field, how is that process going in getting farmers to understand the business aspect of the work that they're doing?
Well, another project that we have on stream is Youth in Agriculture.
Yeah.
And even ADAPT, which is the project will be running for 3-4 months. Every project that will be coming from the Ministry of Agriculture from now on going forward will have a serious training arm towards it.
Okay.
You cannot be involved in an industry and you don't have knowledge about it. You cannot get up in the morning and say you want to produce honey and you don't know what it takes. You don't know about nectar, you don't know about drones, you don't know about the worker bee, you don't know about the queen bee. You have to know about those things. And when the honey comes, what will you do with it? You're gonna pour it out in a cup and put it in a plastic bag and grow in the community and sell it? No, we don't want to do that. You must have an idea in terms of how you process the honey, the storage of the honey, the labeling, the marketing. If you're involved and you're a businessman, you must know those things. Yeah, just like you're a driver and you get a puncture in Granite Town, what will you do? Sit down and cry? You have to learn how to fix your tire so that you could move on. And therefore, the issue of training is so important, it cannot be overemphasized. And in going forward, we'll be paying a lot of emphasis on that. One of the shortcomings we have in Grenada is the whole question of people keeping records. Farmer Brown is doing a lot of agriculture. You ask him how many bunches of bananas he produced for the year, and he cannot tell you. Even though he cannot give you offhand, he should be able to know where to find the information, because he should know how many he planted, he should know how many he harvested, how many pounds he sold to Marketing Board, how many pounds he sold to Real Value, how many pounds he sold to Silver Sand. Those information are crucial. And it's the international community now. Those are the kind of hard questions they're asking you. You come for a loan of $10 million to do what? And they ask you how many farmers you have in Grenada. You can't tell them. Well, pack your briefcase and go out your business. So the data is very crucial, and training will be encompassing some of those areas.
We are reflecting the year. How much work went into the negotiations with the United States? Because we know, see, our mangoes can be exported. That's another item that happened within the year. Can we speak to that a bit?
Well, yes, it has been a long process, and it's a process that we met there, and we try to facilitate it and make sure that we had a smooth transition. I want to give special praise to the Pest Management Unit, Mr. Thaddeus Peters. He said in that unit he did a fantastic job in trying to get Grenada back on the international market, because we were there before until the invasion of the fruit fly and the mango seed weevil. I also want to acknowledge Mr. Nick Bernal. He's one of the exporters that's mobilized a lot of mangoes in Grenada, and he was able to negotiate and be a middleman between the United States and Grenada, working with the Pest Management Unit in terms of getting the United States to accept our mangoes based on conditions. We still cannot export mangoes from a personal point of view, because it has to go through radiation. So it's only commercial shipment we can accommodate for now, but then it's a work in progress, and I'm happy that the mangoes are on the market. We also have the golden apples on the United States market, and there are a lot of other fruits in Grenada that we need to. The source of is there. As a matter of fact, the green gold is right there, and we are the only country in the Caribbean to export fresh soursop, and we have to maintain that and make sure that the fact that we can export to 100 million, 300 million people in the United States can have access to that. It means that we're just not growing enough. So a lot of emphasis will be placed on production.
And I am happy that you mentioned that, because another area that you spoke to previously was that of the farm labor program and the need to restructure it to make it more viable. What has happened there?
Oh, fantastic. Yes, I came in July, and this was one of the first projects that I took up, and there was so many errors and flaws in that project that really and truly it was not reaching the number of farmers that we really and truly would have liked to reach. And the fact that it was just based on farm labor support and more clearing land and cutlassing, a kind of repetition of the debushing program. And I think the farmers needed much more than that. So we have converted that project, the farm labor program, into the Agricultural Development Assistant Program, which we call ADAPT. And that program will give some serious, yes, we will take labor into consideration, but we'll also have material support. There's an aspect of it we call technical support, because there are a lot of people involved and they do not have the know-how. You're involved in farming, you're planting, but you do not know anything about drainage. So the technical aspect of it is, I saw a farm coming down St. David, and every morning I look at it and I shake my head, because the contours, the drains are run down, the beds are run down the hill rather than across.
Okay.
So when the water comes, everything goes down.
Right.
These are the kind of technical support that we have to give the farmers. So the technical support will be offered. Training is despite it's a 3 months program, we're going to have a couple of training programs in terms of how farmers keep their records, how they provide it to the Ministry of Agriculture, so that we can use the records to help them. If we are seeing that your cost of production in terms of tomato production far exceed your output, then maybe something is wrong, you're doing something wrong. So we will be able to come to your aid. Those are some of the benefits that program will give to the farmers this time around, and it's already in motion.
You mentioned briefly to the fishery sector, but I just wanted us to spend a bit of time there, because much has been done within this year. We've seen ice trucks, we've seen assistance of fish markets. If you can just elaborate a bit on what has happened there, and speak a bit to Carriacou and Petit-Martinique as well, as we speak fisheries.
Well, Carriacou and Petit-Martinique, I must say that we have a representative from Carriacou and Petit-Martinique, and nothing is in passing. So before the Japanese was able to handle the trucks, the representative from Carriacou knock on my door and say, well, I'm taking notes. So obviously we were very happy, and the Prime Minister was very happy also to deliver that truck to Carriacou. We do have a lot to do in fisheries. I mean, it's such an important industry. It is one of the industries that brings in the most foreign exchange to Grenada, together with the South. And really and truly, if we have the potential to harness as much as possible from the ocean, then we should do that. As a matter of fact, I just came from Chile, and the international community is trying to move away from the small island developing states. And we are now being looked at as the large ocean developing states.
Okay.
Because the area that we have access to outside, it may be 75 times the size of Grenada. So, and there's a lot of resources outside there. Do we have the technology to exploit it? The answer may be no. So do we need the technology? The answer may be yes. So we are starting off and trying to put structures in place. I have brought back Mr. Rennie, Mr. Justin Rennie, former Chief Fisheries Officer who has been retired, but the staffing is a serious issue in the Ministry of Agriculture, and fisheries in particular. I've brought in a manager for the St. George's Market. He's doing a fantastic job. We have to upgrade our facilities in terms of the standard and maintenance.
Because I was going to ask you about that, because if you're going to export fish, you have to be at a certain standard.
We have to be at a certain standard, and there are a few other outlets in Grenada that export fish, and the standard is very high. But the government facilities has not been maintained in the way that it ought to have been maintained, and this will be crucial in going forward. I mean, I'm now happy to drive up in the ministerial complex and look at the building. When I came in my first week, it was with due respect, and I saw
it was
depressing, and I said to the Prime Minister, we have to do something about that. Now you come to work and you see it may look simple, but the mindset, your frame of mind for the day will augurs well, and therefore we have a lot to do in terms of improving the facility. The ice machines, people have to have sufficient ice. The vendors market, when you come to buy fish, the environment must look like you come to, you're dealing with places where people are eating things. I mean, there are some fish markets I go in, and when you look, from the time you enter, it's a turn off. So we have to get our vendors to be up to mark, and it's not difficult. It's just educating our people, training them, and managing. You have to manage, you have to maintain. Places, the place have to be clean and daily. You do not know when the people you're buying from outside will visit you. They come in all different forms. They come like tourists, they watch what you're doing, they take the records, they observe things, and later on they say, well, we cannot import any more from you. You're not up to standard.
So, Minister, what would you say was big for you for this first year? Because you have agriculture, you have lands. We know government hardly have crown lands. You have fisheries, you have cooperatives, very, very important ministries. What would you say was big for you?
Well, may not be able to point to any one thing in particular, but the food security project that we were able to convince the World Bank about, I'm looking forward to this project in the next 12, 15 months. It will be, agriculture will be heaving in Grenada. Secondly, we were successfully able to do an assessment of most of the lands we have in Grenada, identify who the people that own the lands, are some people are squatting. We want to regularize all that. We have the information. We were able to do an analysis of all government estates, and we are now in the process of coming up with a plan of action in terms of what we do with these estates. We are in the process of negotiating with a lot of absentee owners who have large acreage of land, not utilizing it, not under production, but the people in Grenada that want lands.
Okay.
So we are in that process. So it's an ongoing thing, and it's going to, in the fullness of time, we'll get where we want to be.
And cooperatives, very important.
Yes, very, very important, and this is something I must admit, has not been able to get our full attention as yet. But it has not been left out. We know definitely where we want to go, because we want to encourage a lot of cooperatives in the agricultural sector in going forward. So this is a department that we have to pay particular attention. But I must admit, for the last 12 months, agricultural lands and fisheries has consumed the PS, my time, and the government focus. And forestry is another area that is very, very important, but we have not gotten there and given the kind of attention that we want to. But again, it's a process, work in progress.
So we can say regardless of the fact that you were in the public service before, with your new mandate, the first year was basic, get your feet wet, get an appreciation as to what's there and what needed to be done. Going forward, as of Monday, we'd like to say, I am starting from Monday. The second year, what is the plan going forward? Because it is no longer now trying to understand. It is action time.
No, well, it's, as I said to you, it's a process, and we continue. A lot of those projects that started last year will have to continue into the years going forward, and we will be continuing on that road to progress in terms of developing the agricultural sector. I must mention to you here, though, that the difficulties that we found in the Ministry of Agriculture in terms of staffing, I mean, it's something that it cannot be fixed overnight.
But you tackle it?
We're tackling it. It's a process. We are going forward. We have brought in a number of technical experts already to assist us. We are trying to, the extension service that I spoke about previously, we have interviewed every single extension officer in Grenada to find out, really and truly, do you want to be there? Do you want to be somewhere else? What is your qualification? What level of training that you need? We have done all these works, and those things will be rolling out as soon as possible. The fisheries department is moving on. Staffing and training are crucial, and it will be on the agenda for the next 2-3 years. It will not be a one-off fix.
You're satisfied with the first year as well?
Well, I'm satisfied based on where we were, where agriculture was, and where we are heading for. I'm satisfied that the pace is not that fast, but we are getting out of the doldrum that we found ourselves in.
In terms of production level, what percentage of production you would say you have gotten, and in terms of changing the mindset? Because you said, it's a breath of fresh air, the upliftment of the building, the boosting of your staff morals, and so to get them on board with the agenda.
Well, I may not, on a scale of 1 to 10, I would not say that I'm 10 as yet, but 7 is reasonable, and I think we're traveling nicely. We have a lot of work to do in the Ministry of Agriculture. The government has recognized that, and it's one of the industries that we want to see lift, because a lot of the other sectors will be dependent on the agricultural sector to move forward. But in going forward, we will continue the process of transforming agriculture in Grenada. The farmers, as I said before, they have renewed their hope. A lot of people want to invest in Grenada, not only on the production level, but also in the processing level. And a lot of people there is high demand for Grenada fish. We will try to facilitate a lot of the exporters in terms of getting the fish out as quick as possible. The source up is there's high demand. We'll try to facilitate that process. And mind you, apart from the agriculture doing what they are doing, agriculture is the bulk of it is in the private sector hand, and government will try our best. We have a lot of assistance and benefits for the farmers. 100% concession on whatever equipment you want to bring into Grenada to get involved in agriculture, the 100% concession for motor vehicles. We are enhancing all of those, and we are working on what we call a business incentive package for agriculture, BIPA.
Okay.
We are putting that together so we could advertise it and let the farmers know what is available, because a lot of things are available and they do not know.
Right.
So we expect in the next couple of months that a lot will be dished out, and farmers will be coming, and we'll be happy to accommodate them.
Yes, so on that note, I want to say thank you very much for appearing here in the conversation. It's a program that was designed specifically to observe the government's first year in office.
Right. So you heard it there from the Honorable Adrian Augustine Thomas and Sherrian Noel. It was a really good interview. I featured the Honorable Jonathan Lacrette tonight and the Honorable Adrian Thomas. So tomorrow, God's willing, I will feature two more of the ministers, or maybe three, because in some instances, you had three of them sitting down to have a conversation with a moderator. All right. So it might be three at one time, or it might be two, but we will feature all of them so you can hear from them what they were able to achieve over the many months, over the last 12 months. And I think it's a good thing because we have been featuring our beloved Prime Minister because he has been really on the go in terms of the media, engage in the media. Now we are hearing from the ministers, which is a really good thing. So, folks, I want to thank you very much. I want to wish you all the best for the entire night. Take good care, and I'll be back with you tomorrow morning, God's willing, starting from 8 in the a.m. Bye for now.
The proceeding was a paid program. The views expressed